Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm traveling with Marco, one of my best friends. And we're here in Bosco Gurin, one of the most beautiful villages here in Switzerland. We're going to tell you all the important things that you need to know. So let's go and explore this village together.
Bosco Gurin is what I consider being Switzerland's far, far away, as it's literally at the end of the world. Having started from Ticino's capital, Bellinzona, the drive took around 1 hour and 20 minutes. Well, believe it or not, but it's still within the Canton of Ticino. Easily can go up there by car, but then there are also buses. Just bear in mind, it's going to take even longer. Although the drive up to Bosco Gurin seemed endless, Mark and I found it very enjoyable. As we kept ascending the serpentine road, the landscape turned more and more rural, and eventually we arrived at the village. Now, what is very important to know, Bosco Gurin is a car-free village. This means you will have to park a car right in front, but then good news, it's actually free. You will soon admire the quality of getting around in Bosco Gurin due to the absence of cars, which I feel creates a much more authentic holiday atmosphere. And for those who arrive with the kids, it's definitely easier to roam around.
I really love this house here with the many decorations. It's like being in a fairy tale. Well, actually, this village is a true fairy tale. I mean, how cute is that? I really love the commitment of the people living here to make their village appear in the most beautiful way possible. One thing that is very important to know, especially if you're in villages, mostly you can drink from the fountains. This one here has fresh water from the Alps, also a great opportunity for you to refill your bottle.
Shortly after Marco and I arrived, we got to notice that it's going to take us quite a while to explore all of Bosco Gurin. It's not like in Clemens, where you can walk along this very beautiful alley and it's quickly explored. Up in Bosco Gurin, you will surely need more time to get around.
So far we are really astonished by the village. Very geil, oder?
Richtig schön.
Ja. So yeah, Bosco Gurin is full of surprises, so many beautiful houses. But now Marco, he requested to hike around and we're going to show you something very interesting on the hike.
As we kept exploring Bosco Gurin, the more we got convinced it being the perfect, raw and authentic village of Switzerland. What we love the most about it is the fact that it's not overrun by tourists, thus remaining a perfect hidden gem up to this day. It's actually quite funny because many people know about this village, just that they never make their way up there. Bosco Gurin's beauty and the authenticity is though not a coincidence. The village is the uppermost one in the Valle di Bosco, and at the same time, on 1,500 meters, it's the highest municipality of all of Ticino. As I just mentioned before, the drive up there seemed endless. This is why the population has been decreasing over the past decades. Marco just found out by talking to some locals that since the year 2000, only 4 babies have been born up in Bosco Gurin. Wow, these news were quite devastating. With a decaying population, life in the many remote villages is slowly fading out, which imposes a major threat to these locations. However, now here's the good thing. Some of these villages managed to reinvent themselves and inhale new life. For example, Bosco Gurin managed that thanks to its ski resort, and then Goripo, with its 12 inhabitants, is currently being converted into a village hotel. Now thankfully there's also social media, and then there are content creators like me who showcase the beauty of the villages, which has made Bosco Gurin again a quite talked about destination.
We're now going to one of the local museums. Looks really promising from outside. It's an old house. Let's go and check it out. The house is very interesting. So rustic, very pristine. Yeah, wow, the interior is really fascinating. So make sure when you come to Bosco Gurin, do not miss out this museum here. So these are the stairs, then the kitchen. See, really simple. I think this is really what makes this place so interesting. And then this room, you see I'm really too tall for this, but then you have to know in the past people, they were much shorter. If you were 180, you were considered very tall. Myself, I'm 190, that's even taller.
As Marco and I kept roaming around, we really got to realize in Bosco Gurin every single corner is interesting because you're going to discover something nice. Is it the houses, rocks, stairs, gardens or decorations? The entire village seems to be very enchanting. What I found very interesting about the houses in Bosco Gurin is that they're a fusion of two kinds of traditional architectures. As you're in Ticino, of course, there is much local influence, which is reflected in the rustici elements such as the base and the roofs that are made of stone. However, I got to realize that many of the houses consist mainly of wood and follow an architecture that arrived from outside of Ticino.
So here we have a great example of one of the common houses here in Bosco Gurin. It looks very similar like the Stadel Houses from the Canton of Valais. Well, actually it's the same type of house, basically. So if you've been following my channel, then you may have seen this element a couple of times. It's a Stadel leg, and this here is a mouse plate. So basically the rats, they cannot get inside the house because of these plates. They're unable to climb from here, and that basically prevents them getting into the house to eat the wheat that is stored in there. And here we have some traditional skis.
So long story short, the houses follow the same architecture as those from Valais, because Bosco Gurin, unlike the other villages of this canton, was not founded by ticinese people, but from the Walser who migrated here from Valais. This makes this village stand out from the others here in Ticino, and there's even more interesting facts to learn about.
So we're now here at the outside of the village, and you have this very long wall of houses, very unusual, kind of doesn't really fit with the village. But Marco, you figured it out what it is for.
Yes, it's to protect the village from avalanches.
Yeah, very smart. And then this tunnel has two functions. One is basically the road is going through the wall, and on the other side is also for the avalanche to go through. This is basically to damp the avalanche, otherwise there's going to be way too much impact.
Definitely also explore the bottom part, especially the frontal view of the village is really nice, good for taking some photos. There are many stairs leading you again back to the village center. Now my favorite one is this taking you up to the church. Talking about that one, it's really worth to see the Baroque style interior and the many frescoes.
What's also really important to mention here in Bosco Gurin, the people, they traditionally do not speak Italian. They speak Swiss German, yes, although it's in the Canton of Ticino, because the people who came here, they're from Valais, they are Walser, and thus they speak Walser Dütsch, basically the same as what the people speak in Valais. Yeah, this is very unique. I think there's only one town that compares to Bosco Gurin, and that would be Somnaun.
I really admire Bosco Gurin. It's indeed a fantastic village, but what still remains a challenge is to preserve their identity with the Walser German and the architecture. The future of this village as a language enclave in majority Italian-speaking Ticino remains unclear, but there are a couple of things that you can do. Visit this place, buy the local produce such as cheese, try their specialties, and of course, if you're a German-speaking person, then speak in their local language.
Marco, was meinst Bosco Gurin?
Sehr schön.
Too beautiful. Now, if you want to see more villages, especially here in the Canton of Ticino, then you may want to watch this. or that video up there. So I'm going to see you over there.